And growing up, I grew up extremely poor. It was a common thing to not know when the next, how they were going to pay for rent, how they're going to put food on the table. So I know that it's not helpful to thrive when you have scarcity, like when you're worried about how am I going to pay the rent, how am I going to pay my employees, how am I going to pay my staff.
Yo, I'm Josh, coming at you from the Yogapreneur Collective, head coach at Nomad Business Coaching as well. And I just arrived here at Bikram Hot Yoga Long Beach. I'm coming in to meet with Rosa, the owner. I'm really excited to be on the ground in the studio because obviously being on the ground in the studio gives me an opportunity to actually feel what's going on in the space. And honestly, every time I go to a studio, even if someone says something is happening, getting to see whether it's happening or not, the little nuances, the details, that this is actually experience it as well. You can tell so much about a studio by taking a class, teaching a class, and sitting at the front desk during the sign-in of a class. This studio, even though it's on a huge upswing, the potential of this market, we've been doing some research, is enormous. She hasn't even touched it yet. We're gonna check in on her numbers, see how things are going, and see how we can amplify. She's got a lot of great stuff happening, and more importantly than anything else, help Rosa, deliver her powerful product to people and really save more people's lives. And then for herself, improve her own personal situation, which she's absolutely deserving of, committing to owning a yoga studio.
It was all kind of in the same thing. Like we had to get out. We were like in a bad situation.
Yeah. But I know what you're saying. But
we didn't go buy another house. That was money.
You bought the business.
I took a little bit of my retirement and we took money that we had saved and that's what we used to buy the business.
In 2010, I quit my job and I went to teacher training. At the time, I knew ultimately I wanted to share this great healing and joy that I had, that I knew it had such an impact on my life. So the opportunity came up in 2015 to purchase the Long Beach studio. The studio at the time opened in 2002, so it was very legit. OG had been around for a long time. And I just knew that there was a magic in the space. People come here and they get healing. It's a space for them to be with themselves, to be in their body, and to experience transformation. And I wanted to keep that open. That was my gift, and that's what I wanted to share.
Business leadership is the most important leadership of our time. Business is the vehicle, it's the way that we are able to proliferate anything in our culture. So when it comes to something like a yoga studio, realizing that when you have a sound business and the business succeeds, yes, it's good for you as the owner, but equally as important, it's good for everybody else around you in your environment. The ripple effect from even a single studio, the positive effect on people's lives couldn't possibly be overstated. But even further than that, anyone who puts as much blood, sweat, tears, risk into anything like you would with your average yoga studio deserves to be fairly compensated for that effort. And I think that's something that we can all agree on.
When someone comes here and they do buy your intro and they get some emails and they do some classes versus normality, we're like on par.
Yeah.
We're on par with, they like us enough. But it also means that, let's take the 2% out, 80% of the people who buy your intro, you've got them for 3 weeks and then they're gone.
Yeah.
And you've made maybe only $20 at that point, $30. Say they bought a couple drinks, like $40. So from a financial business standpoint, that's why this is actually the number where money's made. Because if 22, where money is made.
Uh-huh.
If we take this 22% and it becomes 30, you're gonna increase your revenue by like 30, 40, 50%.
Yeah.
It'll be huge. Because 30 is gonna immediately become 100. That's 3x times 3 months is 300. It's exponential immediately if we get good at that conversion.
The single most underestimated place in the entire studio is always the front desk area. Now, of course, having your team dialed in, teaching a great yoga class, and all of the other touch points of your customer experience outside of that is also powerful. But when we look at the actual exchange of finance and where you are able to have that deeper rapport creation with your clients, really it's happening at the front desk. And most places tend to kind of drop the ball here not because they are doing something negative, but because they kind of just nonchalantly view that area as an opportunity to say, hello, how's the weather, make some small talk. And they don't capitalize on the potential of the situation to establish a better relationship with the person in front of them, and ultimately to help that person in front of them succeed at their yoga practice by getting them into a yoga package that is going to support them on making it towards whatever their goals are.
So a lot of...
Hi. Oh,
Hi there.
let's get you in.
You're Lily?
Yes.
Okay, you're
Sweet.
checked in.
How's your Groupon going? Your first month? Yeah? I know, you've come a bunch. That's awesome. Stop by afterwards and we'll just let you know what's up to keep going.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll let you get in there though. Your auto pay is $99. How much is your 10 pack?
170.
So $17 a class.
Yeah.
So for me, I usually say 99 divided by 17 is 5.8. So the second someone gets to their 5th class, they're in the category that our membership makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's talk to them.
Yeah. So what are you saying to do that you would know that?
So you're just going to always, as they're signing in, you're going to check expiration and you're going to check how many remaining.
Now you know that 7 people, that person, Lily, has come 7 times.
Yep.
Got it.
I know it instantly without even
So
looking at a thing.
already for her, it makes sense. Now you know, like, hey, you've come 7 times already. You we recommend that you do. Most
I already
people
know.
do.
I already
Yeah.
know everything I need to say to her, and
Yeah.
she's just said, "I love it." When she comes after class, this is an example where
Yeah.
the conversation is leapfrogged forward. I'd be like, "Yo, Lily, you come like 7 times. You said you'd love it. Let's get you on membership."
Right.
Interestingly, though, Groupon 3, not that many. So people are coming in, doing a free class with you, leaving and buying a Groupon. It's interesting because that means they even liked you,
Yeah.
but we didn't close the sale while they were here.
Yeah.
Part of, and the sales training tomorrow, we're gonna be a lot on this, but like, you can't miss that sale. Not just you, but like as a group, as the the sales team of the studio, it's really simple. If I buy a drop-in, I have no obligation to come back. There's no like financial incentive specifically.
Right.
So if I love the class and I want to come back, then maybe I will. But if I'm waffling at all,
Yeah.
then I'm just as liable to just go try the other place that's only a block away, or the one that's 5 blocks that way. You know what I'm saying? So while the person is right there in your face, that's the moment when, not in a pushy way, but you've got to give it all you got. If you miss that sale, they also don't go into your intro funnel pipeline of communication and follow-up for conversion to something else. Because whether they buy your intro or drop-in, you don't actually make any money. As soon as they buy your membership, now you're going to start making money. But people are not that observant. Lots of people will walk by it and not see it. So if they, on a buddy pass or anything for that matter, as a new student to the studio, can come in and not be given every possible opportunity to opt into it, we've failed, basically.
A huge trial, like as I think anyone would go through, is you want to do a business, where's the money going to come from, right? And because that's the reality, it's a huge commitment.
All human interaction is a sales interaction in some way. Despite what people think, the most productive spot in a yoga studio is where? The front desk. The front desk is where you make all of your money, like 90% of it, not the yoga class. Now, I would love to believe that if you just offer a really good yoga class and people come in and then they want to come back out and pay you, and that's actually how we do it, of course that element matters. Hear me clearly. But in terms of where actually you make money in a yoga studio, and where actually you convince somebody, not in a tricking way, but in a just asking straight up, for them to commit to themselves and the betterment of themselves, the front desk is where it happens. If you've been in this game for like 10 plus years, I don't have to tell you, you know, like, it's changed. It is not the same game as it was 10 years ago, straight up, on so many different levels. But probably the most important level relative to what we're talking about today is consumer psychology, ourselves included. The way you made a purchase, what was normal for marketing and sales 5-10 years ago, is quite different today in its nuance. In our mind, what we think actually happens versus what we actually can do is often incongruent. So that's what we want to solve for. We've got the whiteboard here. We're going to create a formula, jump up, and actually role play it in real time, and then break down what that looks like. Rosa?
So yeah, the key is to frequency. So I would recommend most people go right into our membership. So we offer a super sweet deal. It's half off your first month.
Pause. What did she miss?
What did I miss?
What was it? The pause? Did she recommend the practice? She's recommending the pass right now.
Yeah.
She's not recommending the practice.
I did. I said the key is to success.
You're so
frequency.
good though. I was like,
You're doing
psyched
great.
Up.
Yeah. Doing great. She's actually, you're like added in all the extra stuff we talked about. You're doing great. What I'm saying though is we're recommending a practice, not a pass, because the pass is just the gateway to the practice. The practice is what matters for the student. So if you have said, yes, I will do this practice, then the pass is the natural thing that you're going to do. If I ask you by recommending a pass, you could say no to it because you don't like how the pass looks.
Wow, this is like really bringing. So said a different way, I would say.
We recommend.
I would say.
So you're recommending practice.
I recommend that you continue practicing at least 2 or 3 times a week.
Awesome. Then we're just pausing and looking. She's nodding. She's not saying no. Then we would say, what most people do is.
So most people, yeah, okay, I got it. What most people do is go right into our membership. There's a super sweet deal on your intro. You get half off the first month, and then it's $99 thereafter. You can practice minimum 2 to 3 times a week, or as much as you can come. Okay.
Great. All buying decisions, all buying decisions are emotional first.
Yeah.
People buy transformation first. This is exactly what we're talking about. We have to change, the shift in our minds that that's what's happening.
Well, too many people operate from that scarcity mentality, like, oh, I want to hold on to what I have, I don't want to share it. And I knew that we're powerful when we can work as a collective. And I had worked with so many different people that wasn't legit. Like, I didn't get the help that I needed. This was a roadmap and a blueprint. So the message I would give to other studio owners is to ask for help. Reach out, support is there.
Whew. It has been an epic couple of days here at Bikram Hot Yoga Long Beach with Rosa. We've covered a tremendous amount of information and things that I had no idea we were walking into, which isn't a total surprise because it never ceases to amaze me how absolutely epic the backstory of a yoga studio like this is. Rosa's someone who literally sold her house that her family were living in and started renting so that they could fund the purchase of this and the improvement of it. And she's definitely improved it, but what we identified were some gaps that we've put some immediate, details into improving. The first one, we've got a lot of traffic coming into this studio. So the local area, the local market knows she's here. They're coming in, they're testing it out, but we're losing almost half of the people on day one. And it was the simplest thing, such as having a really clean system on day one for what we're selling them and what we're actually going to be saying to people as well. So we've implemented that, done some staff training on it. And then beyond that, when someone's on their intro pass, what we identified was they weren't really getting the contact necessary to understand just how valuable it would be to be part of this community. So now we've got a really clean, clear strategy in place for her intro pipeline on our communication points and demonstrating that value, making sure it's getting in front of people, giving them the right message. And already today, we're having more signups and seeing a difference basically in what's happening. Obviously, then we ended off with a sales training with the crew here, just because sales is something yogis are scared of. And it's because we maybe have never had any training on how to sell what it is that we really love. But this is about saving people's lives. The truth is, just like Rosa, any yoga studio and any yoga studio owner can positively impact the world and save more lives by improving their business, because the business and the yoga are tied together in the yoga studio realm of reality. So we'll see you guys next time. This makes me super excited. I'm out of here for now. Peace.